I know some advice may be hard to swallow, so let's try just the tips and then see how you feel. Hey, I am Sour and I make videos about hardstyle production while pretending this doesn't hurt my actual hardstyle production, and today I'm giving you 25 tips for your music, hoping it will make a difference. Feel free to contribute your own favorite tips in the comments. The best one gets featured in the opening of next week's video. Declicking is a way to prevent your samples from leaving nasty little pops all over your mix. Some DAWs and recently FL Studio have these draggable fade in fade outs you can use. Or just double click declicking mode generic. This will make your samples nice and rounded off, preventing these cactus looking exports. Making your own percussion builders is easier than you think. Just drag a sample in, spam it at 8s, double the speed from the halfway mark, and to taste you can customize it with random, faster or slower bits and automations to fulfill all your needs. Adding texture to your drops and breaks is really easy. Just pick a couple of dirty hi-hats and make them all kinds of offbeat rhythms. Additionally, you can give them some automatic panning tools to give it a spacious vibe. Works in breaks, builds, drops and more. Sidechain is often used to make a kick and bass work well together, but it can also be used to make room for your vocals in a messy build-up. Just send your clashing elements to your dry vocal bus. Add a compressor and sidechain. Just be careful, too much will sound weird. If you automate the volume of your reverb and delay channel, you can make a certain part dry, which surprisingly can be a good thing. This is amazing for highlighting kick rolls, and it can be used to make the bar before the drop feel a bit more empty, making the drop hit even harder. By automating an EQ point on any bassy instrument, you can make your build-ups slowly lose bass. This will make your drop kick in harder, and it is so easy, it is practically unforgivable if your builds still have more power than your drops after this video. Finding the right punch can be a challenge. A character you like with the bass profile you need is a tricky combination. Unless you just high cut the punch that came with the tail and add a low cut on the character punch. This prevents clashing and can create wonderful punches. If you layer your leads, it is best not to pick two similar sounding sounds, as those will probably clash. One lead layer I guarantee will layer nicely is a filthy noise lead. The more shit it sounds on its own, the better it supports whatever main lead you got going on. If you have anything that is not a kick playing in your drop, make sure to high cut it. You don't want the low frequencies of your vocal, percussion, chords or what have you to fuck the kick in the ass. With a B. Bass. A lot of drops lose drive because you find it necessary to add sustained pads or offbeat steps, fucking pianos or something similar in your drops. Which is understandable as they can make it sound less empty. However, in drops it is best to fill up your own ass with them and leave them out of any part that needs to be punchy and rhythmic. So like your entire drop. If your drop sounds a bit empty now because a YouTube video just told you to stuff your pads up your own ass, not to worry, you know sidechain reverb can do a lot, but sidechain ping pong delay on your leads can make even the emptiest of melodies feel big. A great way to add rhythm to your drop is using punches with a low cut, in a subtle manner, to add groove to your kicks. Shout out to my guy Saturator for showing how cool that shit can be. Breaks can get really boring for most of you. Try splitting up your break in two parts, with a clear difference between the two. If the second half feels noticeably different, the song will actually move on.
Wouldn't it be nice to have a little fun? One more trip around the sun.
Wow, these tips sure are amazing. If you'd like a personal touch to my advice, it may please you to know that I do private lessons. And by contacting me through the link down below, private could mean just between the two of us. If you'd rather just have me make a melody for your song, you can of course also do that with the same link. I don't like to brag, but not everyone I interacted with ran away screaming. If you have Serum and you would like some fun sounds to play with, you are in luck. With code 25 you can get a 25 times 2% discount on the Sour and Fruity Master Serum Bank. Back to the tips. We hardstylers are blessed our drops are so heavy. This allows an incredible freedom with our breaks. We can essentially use any genre as a break and the drops will probably still feel more powerful. So how come all your breaks sound the same? If you draw inspiration from any other genre you ever liked outside of hardstyle, you will get a fresh sound in no time. LFO is a wave generator too slow to make an audible noise. In sense, these can be used for vibrato and more cool shit. But in FL Studio, all automations have this feature built in. Double-click the automation to access these settings. These are incredible for making build-ups and fake drops stand out. But you can also get dope screeches and a lot more. Don't be afraid to experiment. If you ever had someone tell you your mix is muddy, or you just know it is, then here's how to fix it. Mud appears mostly in the 200 to 300 Hz range. What happens is a lot of you have your leads played too low and or you didn't low cut them enough. And that bit of your lead is coincidentally right where a lot of important stuff in your kick happens, making that part of your mix too full and therefore muddy. Just get rid of a bunch of these frequencies and you will probably fix it. If your leads sound great on their own, and like as in the drop, I can confidently say you made the leads to sound great on their own. You'll never hear them on their own, however. See the problem? When layering, mixing or EQing, you need to have the rest of your track playing. It doesn't matter how shit it sounds on its own, never mix in solo. Had a vocal with an annoying S or T sound and did your de-esser fail you again? Just grab a dynamic EQ like FabFilter or TDR Nova for you freebies and make some dynamic narrow bands pressing down wherever you see spikes in the S and T sounds. This is literally what the de-esser does, but more accurate. Does your song sound boring despite everything I've been preaching on my channel? Automate shit. Be it cutoff filters, EQ bands or automate reverb wetness for all I care. I don't think I've ever seen a parameter that wouldn't have any use being automated in some way, shape or form. Be creative. Do your punches not punch despite having punch in the name and them being sidechained and whatnot? Try adding a transient punch. This could be a literal snare sample made very short and declicked at the start of your punches. Just don't overdo it, as sticks are known for spreading Lyme disease. Distortion can be used in a ton of ways you may not have thought about yet. I often distort vocals with some EQ curves to have this play as a background thing. Or it is literally the main vocal. Besides vocals, some pads, arps, plugs and the truth can all be distorted in weird and creative ways. Struggle to find nice vocals for your song? Vocal has a bunch of reasonably priced and even some free vocals that are really cool, and there are more websites like this, but I failed to research. Do you struggle learning music production on your own, or are you in denial? Getting in touch with more people who make music and talking with them about it while receiving and sharing feedback can boost your own skills a lot. If you don't know where to start, I'll leave a link to my favorite hardstyle production Discord server in the description. Learn the basics of sound design by making a bunch of sounds. Even if you plan to use presets, which is of course fine, with this knowledge you can easily modify existing presets to fit your song better. Check out my Serum lead tutorial if you want to get started with sound design. Struggle making full songs and getting stuck on just a drop? Try starting out with a break and make that vibey before you start spamming kicks. You want to make music first, make it danceable later. And with that, 25 tips are now your knowledge. Knowledge shared is knowledge halved, and since I shared so many of my tips and thereby lost half of them, it would be much appreciated if you would share some of your own tips so we collectively can become worse at making bad music. Any video ideas, random questions or interesting stories about your cat are of course more than welcome in the comments. I respond to like 99% of them, so see you there. It was a true pleasure to be your host once again, until we meet again.